Why does it take women so long to come? So I see this question or some iteration of this question too often, and I have a theory on it that I think really could completely redefine how we think about how long it takes a woman to come. But first, I just want to clarify that this idea that it takes too long for you to reach the big O is so male centric and toxic and really doesn't deserve your time or energy. It's just drenched in misconception and misinformation. And I am pretty confident that this theory is going to give you a better framework to work off of that can unlock some deeper pleasure and connection in your life. Okay, so here's my theory. My theory is that it does not take a woman a long time to come once they are actually turned on, and that it doesn't actually take someone a long time to come. Instead, the issue is that it can take someone a long time to become turned on. So to explore this, there's two concepts we need to understand. We need to understand responsive desire, and we need to understand arousal non-concordance. So I would bet big money that you have experienced these things, but it's not something that we often talk about. So you might not even be aware that it's something that's happening in your life or being able to identify it. Okay, so what do I mean by this? So responsive desire simply means that instead of instantly feeling turned on, so that's like spontaneous desire, like what we read in our book talk books and see on TV. So instead of that, a person becomes turned on as a response to something. So in terms of this idea of taking too long to come, my theory is that it could be that a person is engaging in sexual activity before their responsive desire has actually kicked in and without actually feeling turned on. So if you don't feel turned on, it's going to be really hard to reach that big O. So now maybe you're thinking like, of course I'm turned on, like I'm wet. And that leads us to the second concept of arousal non-concordance. So arousal non-concordance simply means that there is a disconnect between a person's genital response, i.e. like being wet, to how much they actually feel turned on. So being turned on is like when that light switch goes on and you're like, your whole body, you're ready to engage in sexual activity. So arousal non-concordance says, hey, you can have a genital response without that light switch going. So my theory comes from coupling these two things together, and that it's not actually taking you a long time to come. Instead, it's taking you time to become turned on because you have a responsive desire rather than a spontaneous desire. So next time you're getting busy, I really encourage you to pay attention to your body and don't just consider how long it takes to come from when you first started to engage in sexual activity, because you can do that without feeling turned on. Rather, consider how long it takes to orgasm from the point when you actually start to feel turned on and that light switch has gone off in your body. So that's the theory. And I think that if we could normalize this and talk about it more, it would just unlock something within so many of us and help us to experience more pleasure and connection and less shame and insecurity in our lives. So let me know what you think in the comments. And remember, this idea that something is taking too long is totally ridiculous and does not deserve your energy or your time, because it is just a toxic message that we need to stop perpetuating.